Thank you, Mike. The NASCAR Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series has headed west for a Sin City showdown under the lights at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. All bets are off as the truckers look to fight their way to victory lane in race 2 of the year. And for drivers like Grant Enfinger, might he go back-to-back with wins? What about Austin Hill, who took the race win last time we were here back in September? And with a big rookie class, will Ty Majeski bounce back after last week's crash? But if any of them do, they'll most likely have to get past Kyle Busch, who is making his first truck start of the season. So much to look forward to. Welcome into our race day studio. Kaitlyn Vincie alongside Phil Parsons, Todd Bodine. Just looking at the storylines going into the race. So much to look forward to. What do you guys have your eye on? Well, it's really a cliche, but, you know, everyone says the season really starts here, and it does. Daytona's behind us. We're at one of the first of 10 mile-and-a-half races that we have out of the 23 races on the Truck Series schedule this year. So the mile-and-a-halfs is so important. Who's going to get that head start? Our next 4 races are on mile-and-a-halfs, Todd.
Yeah, and we've got 7 rookies in this race. 6 of them are glad that this is the first week they're racing, like you say, because they had bad races. Derek Kraus is the only one that had a good one last week. So I'm interested to see how these rookies bounce back. You know, they went to Daytona for the first time, going to their Super Bowl, had all these wrecks, come back to Las Vegas and get it done. Could be a continued learning curve for the rookies out of the mile-and-a-half racetrack. If you missed any action from today, time to get up to speed. Phil, go ahead and kick us off with that practice session out at Las Vegas, the only one they had.
Yeah, Christian Eckes was fast here last September. He had the pole. He was the fastest truck in practice here. Don't worry about Kyle Busch. He was 14th fastest. Is there going to be an issue there?
And on the pole, 26 races since his last pole, which was Texas in 2018. Johnny Sauter gets his 8th career pole. And the thing about Johnny is he's really happy with his truck and race trim. And when Johnny's happy with race trim and qualifies on the pole, these guys better look out tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. First pole of the year for Johnny Sauter. That's the news from on-track activity. Time now to head out to Las Vegas. And Alan Cavana, who is standing by with some news from the garage area. Alan, what's going on out there?
Hey, Kaitlyn, good to be here. 2 big pieces of news today. The first one, penalties. NASCAR issued L1 penalties to 4 teams today. The 13 of Johnny Sauter, the 18 of Matt Crafton, the 98 of Grant Enfinger, and the 26 of Tyler Ankrum. All of those teams and drivers will be docked 10 owners points and 10 drivers points for something that they found in pre-qualifying inspection. Inspectors found something under the truck that may have given an aerodynamic advantage, something they didn't like, so penalties there, but nothing further, just those 10 points. Also for the 88 of Matt Crafton, he'll have to start this race at the back of the field. They heard something during qualifying, a vibration they were dealing with, so they had to switch a rear gear. That means they will be starting at the back of this field. But we have a big show coming up for you tonight right now, Kaitlyn. Later on in the show, I will interview Jordan Anderson. And just to give you a little preview, I can tell you he is still smiling after that second place run in Daytona.
That is good news for sure. Thank you, Alan. Appreciate the insight from you in the garage area. But I want to go back to those penalties for a moment, Phil. What impact do you think that will have on those teams moving forward, or is it still too early really to worry about that?
I think it's pretty early. We have 16 races in our regular season, and 10 points I don't think is going to make a huge difference. I think these guys are going to put it behind them and they'll be fine.
Yeah, one truck that didn't have any issues, the 51 of Kyle Busch. We talked about it earlier. He is making his first of 5 truck starts tonight. You've raced against him. What's the mindset like for another competitor going into a race against Kyle Busch?
Well, these guys are going to tell you that having Kyle in a race doesn't mean he's just another guy to beat. But I'm going to tell you, it does change your mindset. You go into this race and you know you got to race these guys to win. And when Kyle Busch is in the race, you know you have to race all those guys, but you're going to have to beat Kyle Busch to win this race. So it totally changes how you think when you get to racing around them. That's why Kyle and myself always bumped heads, because I didn't take anything from him, and I raced him as hard as he raced me.
Yeah. You know, I was around when Kyle Busch made his first Truck Series start when he was 16 years old at IRP. He crashed qualifying, had a fast truck, got in a backup truck that he'd never sat in and had a top 10 finish. And he's had a bunch of top 10 finishes since then. There are only 3 drivers in this field that have won a truck race when Kyle Busch was in the field.
Wow.
That's how good he is in this series.
Yeah, that's a pretty small number up against their Mr. Kyle Busch. We want to give a shout out to one of the truck chiefs. There he is, Mr. Chris Showalter. He is making his 600th start in the truck series with the 51, obviously, today. And guys, what a milestone for him.
It really is. You know, I was fortunate enough to have Chris on one of my teams when I drove for Randy Moss. Absolutely one of the nicest guys you're ever going to meet and really good at his job.
I walked him up at Daytona last week and said, hey, is this your first time? 600 in a row since 1995. Amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing. Hasn't missed a single one. Congratulations to him on number 600. Still to come here on Race Day, Grant Enfinger invited Todd over for a little one-on-one after his dramatic Daytona win. Find out what that win means to him and who Grant leans on for help.
The 2020 season is about to get underway. We're racing at Daytona. Oh, no. Upside down is the 45 of Majeski. Cody Robog, a little loose. Oh, Angela Ruck is into the wall hard. That's a lot of fire. There goes Lassard. Contact.
Big wreck, come on, straight it out.
That's what you call cool under fire right there.
Anderson swings outside. Oh, what a thriller. Enfinger does it.
Welcome back to Race Day here on FS1. There you saw it. The big winner from last week's Daytona race, Grant Enfinger. He's starting 9th for tonight's event. And that race last weekend was a thrilling win over Jordan Anderson by 1/100th of a second. Our man, Todd Bodine, he went to visit Grant at the Curb Music and Motorsports Museum. Take a look.
We're in Kannapolis, North Carolina today at the Curb Music and Motorsports Museum. We're going to talk to Grant Enfinger, the Truck Series winner at Daytona. Let's go talk to him. So this isn't your first win at Daytona. You've got 2 ARCA Menard Series wins there. How does winning this truck race differ from those 2 wins?
This one felt a lot harder on Friday night, to be honest with you. We had the good fortune of being able to control that last restart. Couldn't control a whole lot coming off a turn 4 to the checkered, and it's just really fortunate to come out on the good end of the stick after that one.
So you're coming up on your 4th full season with crew chief Jeff Hensley. How has your relationship with Jeff evolved over these past 3 years?
It's great. You know, I mean, he's a hands-on, old school crew chief. He was talking before the race at Daytona. He kind of got us all in a group. And he said, boys, I've been here 33 years and I've only won this race once. Let's make it 2 out of 34 this weekend. Within an hour after the race, me and Hensley were already scheming on, this helps us out for the rest of the regular season, and Jeff's able to not only, hopefully develop some packages that maybe we couldn't otherwise, but it also allows him to be able to call the races the way he wants to race. That's probably something that plagued us a little bit last year. We didn't put ourselves in position to win as much as myself and Jeff would have liked, so that's something that we're going to be able to do here for the rest of this regular season anyway.
You did win last year's regular season points, but you didn't win a race. How hard was that on you guys, knowing that you were that good for the season, but just could never get to victory lane?
Our team was too strong, in my opinion, to not win a race last year. It's like we unload and we're a 5th place truck, but we didn't put ourselves in position to capitalize on wins enough. But to go ahead and get it done this early in the season, just develop setups. It helps us with our just the momentum and the strategy. It's just a great thing.
I heard you got this crazy little Lucky Charm hanging around your house.
I wouldn't call him a lucky charm so much. I would more call him a mentor. He kind of reminds me of you. He's got a lot of knowledge. Your demeanors are actually kind of similar. I'd love to introduce you to him.
Wait a minute. This is your Lucky Charm? A pig?
What do you mean? What's wrong with that?
It's a pig. How can it be a Lucky Charm?
Wilbur can be kind of intimidating. He can be a little rough around the edges. But if you can feed him or rub the right spot, he'll be soft, gentle, roll over, get on his belly, and tell you all his racing secrets.
Was Was he describing Wilbur or you?
I got a little upset. He compared me to Wilbur. I was like, are you going to scratch me on the belly or what? I was, come on, give me a break.
That's fantastic. Well, in all honesty, you know, what did you learn from that piece? What were some of your big takeaways?
Well, the thing about Grant is he's actually very quiet and reserved a little bit. And the thing that I took away from the whole thing was he really feels like he's the guy to beat for this championship, that they can go out now. You know, they didn't win any races last year, and they've already won one. He feels like they can win 2, 3, 4 more. He's got that kind of confidence right now, so he's going to be sharp.
By the way, you and Wilbur do favor. But anyway, the thing I took away from it, he talked about that relationship with his crew chief, Jeff Hensley, going on the 4th full season. The thing is, most of that crew is together for their 4th consecutive season, so I think that has to pay dividends by the end of this year.
You think so?
Yeah, certainly the continuity on the team playing a big part on the success. We're taking a quick break, but when we return, a trip back out to the racetrack. There's last week's runner-up finisher, Jordan Anderson. He's set to chat with Alan Cavanna. Stick around. Race Day continues next. Welcome back to Race Day, getting you set for a big Gander truck event out at Las Vegas. And time now to check in with Alan, who's standing by with Jordan Anderson, fresh off a career best finish at Daytona.
Kaitlyn, I told you, 1 week later, Jordan Anderson is still smiling. Look, when people saw that interview last week, it's all they've been talking about. How do you put into words the last week and everything you've heard and what that second place has actually meant to your team?
Man, what a range of emotions to be so close to winning, but to get the second place. The whole night was so big for our team, and the range of emotions, you know, like I told you there, I was so excited for our whole team and our sponsors, and we've worked so hard to build this team up. And that finish last night, I think I got like 800 or 900 text messages last week, so it was kind of, you know, it was humbling, encouraging, motivating. I got all my guys to shop a canvas print of the picture from the flag stand, and I said, I don't think there's any more motivation to see how close we were to winning the Daytona to keep our season going. So all you guys on Twitter and Facebook, holy cow, man, I'm still so excited. We almost won Daytona. So, I mean, this is a different animal in Vegas, as you know.
Yeah, touch on that. What is realistic going forward now that you have a little momentum and something to work with?
Yeah, so we've got an old BKR truck that we brought here. They were always good at Vegas. It's a 4 or 5-year-old truck, but if we can come away with 10th to 15th and capitalize just like we did last week. My dad asked me, he said, did you expect to win Daytona? I said, no, I didn't expect to be anywhere close to battling for the win, but if we can come here and run good and put ourselves in spot for a good finish, who knows?
Who knows? We didn't expect it last week. We'll see what he can do this week. Kaitlyn?
We certainly will, Alan. Love seeing that enthusiasm from him. A number of competitors having career best finishes in Daytona, them being Cody Robaugh, Derek Kraus, and Natalie Decker as well. All of those teams having a really big, successful weekend in Daytona. Phil, out of that group, who impressed you the most?
Well, I think Jordan Anderson. It wasn't that many years ago that Jordan had to drive to Atlanta before we raced in Canada to get his passport. And then he turned around, drove back home, and then got in the truck and drove the truck to Canada so he can race. And that's how bad he wanted to race. He's steadily improved that team, improved the people, equipment, and now he's a contender for a top 10 every week.
Yeah, he's very hands-on with the team, playing a lot of different roles as well with it. Todd, from that group, who kind of stood out to you?
I like Cody Robaugh. I thought he did a tremendous job. You know, he spun out early in the race, didn't panic, came in, got some tires, went to the back, worked his way up steadily, missed those wrecks, did a great job finishing third. But, you know, Cody's another one of those guys, like kind of like Jordan Anderson, owns his team, is slowly, progressively building this team. And, you know, we've heard Phil and the guys in the booth talk about him a lot. And we think he's been around a while, but this is only his 12th race, so he's good for him.
Great to see those finishes for the small run teams. Time now, though, for a little bump and run with Todd and Phil. Here's how it works. 20 seconds on the clock to share. I toss out a question. You guys have at it with some debate. The first question being, which rookie has the best finish tonight? Phil, who are you thinking?
Well, we talked about Christian Eckes being the fastest truck in practice. Pole here last September, finished third in the race. So I think Christian Eckes is the guy that steps up tonight.
All right, going with Eckes. Who you think, Todd?
I like Zane Smith. You know, it's kind of a home race. He's a West Coast guy. It's kind of close to that. But he's with a great race team. GMS and Bono Mannion is a crew chief. I think he's got a lot on his side to get a good run.
All right, we'll see how those rookies duke it out. Next up, we talked about it earlier in the show. Kyle Busch's truck win streak. Will Kyle Busch go undefeated in trucks this year? Todd, what say you?
No.
Wow.
I think that ends tonight. I think tonight he's got to go through Thorsport with 4 trucks. GMS has got 4 good trucks. He's got to beat a lot of good trucks tonight if he's going to win this race.
Yeah, you also said last year that Matt Crafton wouldn't win the title. So, Phil, what do you think?
This is a guy that's won 30 races on a 1.5 miles in a truck. There's nobody going to beat Kyle Busch here tonight, and there's nobody going to beat him this year.
All right, fair enough. Buzzer time. How about this? Will Thorsport win back-to-back races for the 4th time? What are you thinking?
Well, since I picked Kyle Busch to win tonight, I'm going to say absolutely not. They have 4 great trucks, good drivers, but they're not going to beat Kyle Busch tonight.
I think Thorsport's going to go back-to-back. I think Grant Enfinger's done a great job, and he's ready to carry that the rest of the year.
Okay, we will find out. We've been talking so much about the outcome of this race. It's time now for us to go ahead and make our race picks as well for the big victory at the end of the night out at Las Vegas. Phil, you're up first.
Well, I want to be consistent.
Okay.
I picked Kyle Busch to win all 5 of his races. I picked him to win tonight. I picked him. Nobody can beat him. I'm going to say Kyle Busch.
All right, you kind of mapped it out earlier for us. Yeah, Todd?
And I just said Thorsport, Grant Enfinger. I think he's going to get it done again tonight.
Okay, I'm going with the pole sitter, which, mind you, I picked before we actually saw qualifying, so kudos to me.
Yeah.
Johnny Sauter gets it done out in Las Vegas. We have a little more race day coming up after this. Engines will be fired shortly. Stay with us right here on Fox Sports 1.